With YouTube demonetizing independent media, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. And look, I haven't talked about the Roseanne thing on this channel. I talked about it a couple times on my main channel, Monday Matt. And but this is interesting to me because I wasn't too sure how to feel about this originally when I heard about it. But now that things have kind of happened the way that they've happened, and Roseanne has done what she's done on Twitter, I'm inching more towards this being the right course of action. Now, it says here, Roseanne follow-up without Roseanne inches forward, but some hurdles still remain. Now, it says here, there's some optimism that Roseanne, canceled by ABC on Monday, could continue without co-creator and star Roseanne Barr. The show's producers will be meeting Disney ABC executives this Monday to pitch a revamped Roseanne without the title star and likely without the original title too. Now, this is either going to be a good or a bad thing. There are many people out there that are clearly going to be against this. I don't think there's any other way to describe that. There are people out there that are going to be 100% against this. They're going to be like, no, without Roseanne, this is nothing. No one cares for Darlene. Which is not exactly true. A lot of people do. And to be fair, the show has essentially become about Darlene anyway. It's about Darlene's struggle with being a single mom with 2 kids moving back home with her parents. And if you've watched the show, the way they ended the first season was essentially the perfect time to kind of gracefully exit Roseanne and still continue forward. Don't get me wrong. I loved season 10. I loved seasons 1 through 8. Season 9, I skip over that. I go right to the series finale. I walk away. I can't do season 9. It's crap. But seasons 1 through 8 are great. You know, they're fantastic. And season 10 was good too. And I love that they were doing it like this. I love that this was a thing. And I was so upset on Monday when they canceled the show. I was so angry because it was so stupid of her to tweet that. And it was so stupid of her to continue fighting. And the way that people were overreacting to everything really pissed me off too. And it was like this like, you know, there's reports that she wanted, you know, it was just grueling on her and she did it to herself. She wanted out. And ABC chose to cancel it because it was, you know, in their mind, the right thing to do. Even though I feel like it was a brash move. I just don't think it was necessary. I think they could have taken a pause, fired her, talked about the revamp, and then gone from there. But then no, it was a quick brash move in order to appease people on Twitter, which, as we've learned, it's not a good idea. Now, it says here that details about the concept will be pitched are unclear, but the show is expected to stay true to the praised first season of the revival of the series 11th overall, featuring other cast members except Barr. There could be a stronger emphasis on Sara Gilbert's character Darlene, which can be expected since the revival was centered mainly on 3 characters, Roseanne, Dan, and their daughter, who moved back home with their kids. Exactly. I said you could eliminate Roseanne and have it be, you know, dealing with the loss of her, Dan dealing with the loss of her, and Darlene trying to pick up the slack, and that could be a show. And that could be very good. Now, there will clearly, obviously, be a missing presence, but Roseanne, by the end of the season, is still, I mean, she's become very bitter and angry, it feels like. And, you know, and that could just be her, Roseanne as a person. But I just feel like maybe the character was like life had just beaten her down too much. I mean, she basically had an opioid addiction at the end of the show. And I know that was going to be explained. That was a part of it, but that could be how they exit her. Now, as previously reported, executive producers who also produced the original series and Gilbert, the main driving force behind the revival, are believed to be spearheading the efforts to continue the show and keep the writers led by executive producer showrunner Bruce Helford and their crew employed post cancellation. And this ultimately is, I think, the biggest thing for me. That was the thing that pissed me off the most, was these hundreds of people lost their jobs. And it's not to say that they won't be able to go off and find new work. You know, TV shows get canceled all the time, but it's kind of like you're losing your job because of an Ambien, you know, riddled tweet that was really poor judgment and everything else. And it's just, it's crazy. Now, it says, overall, the prospects for Roseanne 2.0 look a little brighter than they did immediately after the show's sudden cancellation. Still, sources close to the situation caution that there are major hurdles to overcome. While independent production company Carsey-Werner owns and produces Roseanne, there are legal and rights issues that would need to be settled, as Barr was co-creator and executive producer on the series and has ownership / back end. Warner Brothers TV has the final decision to fire 2.5 Men star Charlie Sheen and continue the show without him, resulted in him filing a $100 million lawsuit against the studio, which they settled for $25 million that Warner Brothers paid him to cover his back end. So we're going to be looking at the monetary issue here. Part of me doesn't think Roseanne will put up much of a fight in that regard. I just don't see it. She's mad at the situation, but she continues to revel in self-destruction, I feel like. I just had to unfollow her on Twitter. I just got so fed up with it. I was just so done. I'm like, no. This is not something you could have never come back from. I think you could have easily come back from it. It just would have required a little bit of finesse and a little bit of working. But instead, she gave in to the masses on Twitter and that instant gratification and just went with it. And it's not a fan. And then she also attacked her cast members here, Michael Fishman and Sara Gilbert. She's since forgiven them, so to speak, but that's kind of where we find ourselves right now. Is she's done. I mean, she's burned every bridge. But the show, like I said, the show could easily go on without her. Now, I don't know if they should. I don't know. I love the characters. I like the new characters. I love the show. I want to see what they're going to do with it. If they continue it going, would it still have the same viewer base that it did before? And the answer to that is obviously no. The people who tuned in for Roseanne. Roseanne being the Trump-supporting middle-class American from the flyover states is what resonated with a lot of people. The fact that, the other people on the show really aren't that level of conservative or espouse those values is going to be a primary detractor for a lot of people. And I feel like they'd have to bring in a new character to kind of fill those shoes, but then that would feel, that would not feel good to me. That would feel very bad. That would feel like this is now you're just pandering. And nothing is worse than a pander, right? Nothing is worse than pandering to an audience because they can see through it. And when they can see through it, they don't want it. They don't want to deal with that shit. They don't want nothing to do with that. So you can see that this is one of those situations where ultimately, resigning Roseanne and continue, calling it Darlene or calling it the Connors would be a good way. But I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I think because I'm more of an optimist in this regard, and they went through a lot of work to get the show back, and quite frankly, I'm not quite ready to see it go yet, with or without Roseanne. I say it's worth a shot at this point. I'd say it's worth a shot. It's something they could try. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, they can give it a shot. They should do the 11th season, aiming to have the finale be that could be considered a series finale. And then if that's the case, wrap it up with the series finale. They got 2 seasons out of a revival. They close out the story. We got the full thing. And then we as an audience get closure. And at the end of the day, I think that's really what everybody wants, is that closure. Because let's be realistic, this 9th season and then the series finale, they were a juxtaposition of one another. They were not anything that, oh god damn, I remember that. I mean, the series finale is good, but it's like that revelation that the whole thing was made up just really pissed off so many people. And who knows, maybe they'll find a way to they'll say Roseanne's going to get help. I mean, Charlie Sheen, look, Hollywood has a way of really messing with people's heads. Add on celebrities and or celebritism and social media, and it can really mess with you. And I think Roseanne needs to get help. And this is just me as a fan. I grew up watching the show. The show means a lot to me. It's actually one of the things that my girlfriend and I, we've been together for 10 years. We bond over watching Roseanne. We've already gone through the series like 3 times. We love the show. So to see this happen bothered both of us quite a bit. And I would love nothing more than to go back in time and erase that, get her to take away her phone and not tweet that shit. So it doesn't happen. But I know this is a TV show. I get that. But this is a show that's been around for a long time, and it means a lot to me. And I'd like to see it continue. I'd like to see it try. I think at this point, the producers of the show owe it to the fans to give it a college try. I mean, hell, The Office lasted a couple more seasons past Steve Carell, and it was a little rocky following his exit, but then they were able to find their stride. And I think Roseanne can do it too, or Darlene can do it too. Who knows what they're going to call it now? But what do you guys have to say about this? Let me know in the comments below. They should be interesting. Do you think the show should continue? Should the show just let it go? What's going on? I want to hear your thoughts. So my name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Theater. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, check back often for more content from me. And if you want to do that, you can do that right now.